Rivia will never die so long as we are alive. Nilfgaard will not spit in our maws! Lady, the traitors run before you. Find me a map, and I'll show you where they buried the loot.
These lands, they look familiar to you?
Naturally, Your Grace. They're the venerable Count Caldwell's.
War, death, chaos. Everywhere but here. This land's positively pastoral.
The traitorous Caldwell family's residence loomed into view. Against the horizon, it looked suitably sinister. Yet the manor had changed since Meve last saw it. 2 new wings, ornate towers, a grand colonnade. And the windows now glistened with stained glass, the gilded hue of imperial suns.
We must pay them a visit,
Seethed the Queen. The great double doors opened with an echoing thud. Just inside them stood the heir to the estate, Dragomir, his wife and 3 children by his side, and Helena, the treacherous Count's widow. Sliding the cap from his head, thus giving proof of the family's hereditary baldness, Dragomir knelt down upon one knee.
Your Grace, my father's betrayal stands beyond doubt and exoneration.
the young Caldwell said flawlessly and in a single breath as if he'd practiced a dozen times.
And his death at your hands was most well deserved. I beseech you to lay your trust in Prince Willem. He'll confirm I knew naught of my father's plans. I humbly ask that you not punish me for his sins. Allow me to stay on my ancestral lands, to serve faithfully as your loyal subject.
I believe not a word slithering out of his mouth,
Whispered Reynard.
The first chance he gets to stab you in the back, he will take.
Meve narrowed her eyes and gazed at Dragomir. Large drops of sweat dripped from his brow.
You may stay,
Said the Queen, finally breaking the silence.
on 2 conditions. Firstly, you will make a considerable donation toward the war effort. Then field an infantry regiment, fully outfitted, under my command.
Naturally, Your Grace. And the other?
In one swift motion, Meve snatched a crossbow from a soldier, put it to her cheek, and loosed. Caldwell the Younger screamed bloody murder as he threw up his arms to shield his face. The bolt hissed by and struck the center of a golden sun, shattering one of the stained glass windows.
Redecorate.
Said the Queen flatly. She then mounted up and sped off, earnestly hoping she'd not come to regret her generosity.
I shall replace the glazing in the windows to bear Rivian diamonds. A glazier I've already sent for. My father was wrong about you, and even more wrong about Nilfgaard. I shan't let you down, Your Majesty. I shall stand by your side until victory's achieved. Again, many thanks, Your Grace, and this, may it serve as proof of my loyalty.
Thing about slings, they hide well.
Inarin Yalden Crowfair.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
Are you mad? Don't shake that!
Your life is mine now.
This could hurt!
Wise choice.
What you looking at? Hey?
No time for that!
Ennard Fane! Again and again and again.
Right!
Necessity! Invention's mum! Something from nothing, it's exactly what I do.
Scoia'tael! Attack!
Off to the front yet again.
Let me tell you of Ravencloft, a quarry Meave passed by. A quarry with a dark history. For years earlier, its wall had collapsed, burying dozens alive. Scholars summoned from Oxenfurt were unanimous in their findings. The rock was fragile, further digging would likely cause slides. Meve had heeded the scholar's advice and closed the quarry by royal decree. Yet now, as she neared it, Meve could hear the even tap of pickaxes. She dispatched scouts to investigate. They returned promptly, their faces sullen, their cloaks blanched with a fine limestone dust.
Quarry's open anew, Your Grace. Nilfgaardians. They've got folk in the pit working it. Appear to be from the surrounding villages.
Interesting. Their engineers have found a way to render it safe, secure the walls.
I'd say that's right unlikely, Majesty. Judging by the fresh graves we saw.
My son, I trust now you see the superior culture Nilfgaard has brought.
Said Meve, turning towards Willem. In answer, the prince merely dropped his head. The queen then turned to Reynard, as ever at her side.
Reynard, what do you advise?
As a soldier, my queen, I'd advise against any kind of assault. The terrain's hard, unsuitable for a fight, and we've little to gain from a victory. As a man, however...
Yes?
To leave our folk in chains, in that death trap. 'Twouldn't be right.
If I were to calculate in heart and mind, keep note of gains and losses...
Began Meve.
I'd bend the knee to the Imperials, just as Willem did. But bloody arithmetic won't dictate my course, for I do what's just. I do what's right. Follow me!
Her troops followed without hesitation, swords in hand, their hearts afire.
Those Horsens, forcing my own subjects to fight us.
Oh. Wise choice.
Oh! I live to serve you.
Ha!
Ha! Order!
Catch!
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
What do you want of me?
Used to be, I hunted game. Men bring more coin.
Your Grace, if we begin killing the overseers, the labourers will turn against them. We'll catch them all!
Your life is mine now.
Thing about slings, they hide well.
The overseers are dead, Your Grace.
The Lyrians handily dispatched the Nilfgaardian overseers, more trained in the ways of the whip than the sword. Those who survived now found themselves shackled in the very chains they'd forced the peasants to wear. Peasants. Oh, unfortunate souls. The cruel labor in the quarry had taken its toll. They stood before the Queen, shrunken to skin and bone, clothed in tattered rags, their eyes reddened by dust. But in those eyes burned a brilliant fire.
Your Grace, them black-clads treated us like dogs, stripped us of dignity. So we beg you, give us arms, let us march neath your banner. 'Tis a chance at revenge we seek, we want.
Reynard leaned towards Meve and spoke in a scarcely audible whisper.
Majesty, they've knout, not boots, not even foot wraps. To equip the lot, train them, would cost a small fortune.
'Tis true, they've nought to their names,
said the Queen.
have few skills to offer and little strength. But to look in their eyes is to know they'll never flee, never throw down their arms. Such recruits are worth coin in any amount.
Emaciated, downtrodden, the peasants met the Queen's offer with gratitude. They relished the thought of facing their tormentors in a fight. Meve now reached Willowhain, a settlement she knew well, for it lay near Waldenrad, where in peacetime she would go to escape her queenly duties and enjoy the thrill of a hunt.
Pheasant, grouse, and partridge in abundance. You will see,
said Meve in muted excitement, pivoting in her saddle to face Gascon. Alas, it appeared the war had ravaged even these woods. Where life had stirred and grown tall before, only resinous trunks remained. And the village itself had lost its quaint allure, surrounded now by a double stockade, a golden sun fluttering above it.
Bastards couldn't even let the damn trees be.
Gascon seethed. A dismal scene. Her once cherished wood, and it weighed heavily on the Queen's spirits. Waldenrad had been a place removed, where she could rest and forget the weight of her crown. Reynard's voice roused Meve from her sad reverie.
A Nilfgaardian garrison holds the village,
he said.
We ought to drive them out, avoid any surprise later from the rear.
give the order to attack, but none is to play the hero. We shall breach or topple the stockade together. Senseless to perish so close to home.
Reynard nodded. Moments later, the Lyrians rushed forth and attacked.
To purge these devils from our homes! Follow me!
I live to serve you.
Oh! Wise choice.
Oh! You mad? Don't shake that!
March on, march on.
Ha! For the Queen! Order!
Gloire!
Elven blarney.
The chase is on!
Your life is mine now!
A highly curious case.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Something from nothing, it's exactly what I do.
When the battle dust had settled, Niamh instructed her soldiers to gather Willowhane's inhabitants. Upon spotting their armed liberators, the common folk cowered in terror.
No longer need you fear.
The Queen shouted.
No longer must you worry about homes and loved ones. The war's nearly done.
Of a sudden, a villager dropped to his knees and raised his hands to the heavens in supplication.
Trache! Guide my Queen!
Niamh broke off oddly, baffled by the man's outburst. And then it dawned on her. The Rivians of Willowhane had been driven away. Taking their place, Nilfgaardian settlers brought in to transform the near-subsistence plots of local peasants into great estates producing for the Empire. Reynard managed to grasp the essence of the Nilfgaardian peasants' frantic pleas.
They wish to stay. They've come to love the land. They pledged to renounce their emperor, swear allegiance to you as their rightful ruler.
Niamh had stopped listening. She turned to survey the hamlet. The walls of the huts freshly whitewashed, tools neatly arranged, flower beds well tended. A young girl of 6 or 7 summers peered out from her hiding place in a sunflower patch.
Your Majesty?
Asked Reynard, having noted that Niamh's mind had wandered.
What are your orders? What shall we do?
They can stay on 2 conditions. Tell them. For 15 years, they'll pay double the tax. And if any of the previous inhabitants return, they're to be given their huts, lands, and any crops produced in their absence without delay.
The Nilfgaardian settlers accepted the terms with relief. Niamh's soldiers with markedly less enthusiasm. As the force left Willowhane, the troops made a show of knocking aside any food or drink the peasants offered.
Ready to dance, mate?
Without hesitation.
Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth?
Once the helmet, it got a pot turned over.
I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away. Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
We'll catch 'em all!
I smell a leak.
The chase is on! Ow!
Stick 'em up, high as the clouds, now!
Meave spied the outline of Malabon Castle on the horizon and turned dour. True, no golden suns waved atop its towers, yet that did not mean those within supported her. Malabon belonged to House Obert, long in conflict with Meave's own, and with Meave herself.
Behind their ramparts. Do you see them, Reynard?
Asked Meave, shaking her head.
Countless ballistae, collecting dust, while war rages all around.
Perhaps the Oberts will lend us aid,
Reynard replied.
True, you've been at odds with them in the past, but perhaps now, faced with a common foe.
A common foe?
Snorted the Queen.
You mean Nilfgaard, to whom they opened their gates? Caldwell, whom they supported?
They supported me, Mother,
Willem said.
And I know they share my disappointment with General Epdahi's actions. When they see I now stand by your side, they might forget old wrongs.
The things I do for the good of my realm.
Meave sighed.
So be it. Reynard, send a runner to the castle. Tell the Oberts their queen seeks a word.
Moments later, the castle's heavy iron gate creaked open. Meave rode into the cobblestone courtyard, where Margravine Greta, head of the house, greeted her. Although, greeted is perhaps not the right word, for Lady Greta granted her only a barely perceptible nod.
What can I help you with, Meave?
The war, my dear. The one being fought outside the walls of your castle.
Greta smiled to herself, then intertwined her brittle, ring-covered fingers.
I'm afraid that's impossible.
It is a vassal's sacred duty to serve her liege, and
my liege is King Willem.
Greta calmly retorted. Hearing his name, Willem stepped forward.
I wish to add my name to my mother's entreaty,
said the prince.
We tried to pact with the Empire. We trusted General Epdahi's promises, and he broke them, one after the other.
Margravine Greta dropped her gaze. The Oberts had lost lands, their serfs had been deported. Under Nilfgaard's rule, they had lost no less than the other great families.
We can brook no further delay. We must strike, united with all our might. Only thus can we retain hope for a victory.
Mine is long lost,
the noblewoman replied in a whisper.
I watched from my tower as their troops marched past. An endless sea of black plate. But you are right, Your Majesty. At some point, one must say enough. Even if that is one's last word.
Willem grasped the Margravine's brittle hand and bowed.
Thank you. On behalf of myself, my mother, and all our land.
Meave left Malabon Castle reinforced by the Oberts and reassured by Willem's actions. If earlier she had harbored doubts about forgiving her son his betrayal, now she was convinced she had done the right thing.
We march with you, Lirian beside Rivian, together at the Blackclads. Prince Willem speaks true. No more bending. An end to concessions.
Meave's force reached Cavalden, a small, run-down town.
The Blackclads! They've a strong garrison in place,
proclaimed her scouts upon returning from a foray.
And they stand prepared for a siege. Their stores overflow, and we've seen ballistas, scorpions.
Cavalden can be taken,
began Reynard hesitantly.
But not without losses. Considerable losses.
A retreat? Is that what you advise?
I fear the soldiers wouldn't take to such a course. They're eager, Your Grace. They've a fire in them. Order a retreat and you could devastate morale.
Our losses may be heavy,
said me, drawing her sword.
but I'll make certain the vile invader suffers even more. Order the troops to prepare. We will attack.
Soon after, the Lyrians moved on Cavalden, war drums rumbling in step to their march. Upon the walls, the Nilfgaardians stood poised to defend.
I won't leave a single city to these invader scum! For Lyria! For Rivia!
I live to serve you.
My, now that is some fancy weaponry. Bet it's still got that new war machine smell.
We must bring down their walls! Crush them!
Watch your heads!
The chase is on! Water and poison. Order! Your life is mine now! Wise choice.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
That was not in the spellbooks.
See if he's hid any coin in his pockets! Or his arms!
Catch!
Never had your kneecaps broken!
In retreat!
Yes.
Blattzeifel! Ennard Fien!
We did it, Your Grace. The city is ours.
The Nilfgaardians had indeed prepared well, with grapples to repel hook ladders from the walls and long spears to rain down upon attackers far below. Meve managed on the fourth attempt to breach the defences, but did so scrambling over the corpses of her own men. The Queen was in the field tent when Reynard arrived with surprising news. To be heard over the groans of the wounded, he had to raise his voice.
Your Grace, a delegation of townsfolk. They seek an audience urgently.
Dozens of burghers stood before the tent. Between them and the Queen, a man knelt in shackles. His face was blooded as if he'd endured a vicious beating just moments before.
Who's this?
Our blacksmith, Todor.
Snarled a priestess in a frayed robe.
He betrayed you, Your Grace. Soon after the Nilfgaardians arrived, within hours in truth, he offered his labour and strength. They didn't even need to ask. Forged arms and armour for them, all for imperial gold.
Meve gripped the beaten man's beard, tugged upwards, and looked him in the eyes.
Did you forge the hooks and the tips for those spears?
I did, Your Grace.
It was fine work,
growled the Queen.
Damned fine.
Show him mercy, milady!
Cried a withered old man in a flour-spattered apron.
When the black-clad bastards captured my son, they were eager to hang him. Todor spoke for him, saved his life.
He helped me too.
Hollered a woman in the crowd.
I were hungry. He shared what little he had.
The townsfolk began shouting over one another. Some told of the blacksmith's noble deeds. Others labelled him a traitor deserving of a cruel and violent end. Meve turned back towards the field hospital, pondering the case, then spotted her soldiers' corpses laid out in rows. Had it not been for Todor, there might not have been so many.
Mother!
Willem's voice pierced the air, replete with tension.
My offences were far graver, yet you showed me compassion.
This man forged arms for the Nilfgaardians. 'Tis true,
said Meve to the crowd.
Yet you, baker, baked the bread they ate. And you, potter, stained the cups from which they drank. Willingly or not, each of you aided the invader. Where does pursuing one's craft end and treason begin? I've no answer to that. So I shan't punish any for doing merely what's theirs to do.
Upon hearing the verdict, the Queen's troops stared in disbelief, then began to boil. As she walked back calmly to the tent, they jeered and hissed. At the last, it took Reynard to calm them down. Meve had saved Todor, but she was convinced she'd not see the blacksmith again. Come evening, he returned to the camp, with a wagon full of arms so new they shone.
If it weren't for you, Your Grace, they'd have torn me to bits with their bare hands,
he said, kneeling before her.
I thank you for speaking up for me. For my innocence, that is. I've a gift for you. A gift I knows you'll put to proper use.
Meve took a spear in hand, put it to her shoulder, and gazed down the shaft. The tip glowed red in the light of the setting sun.
Of that, my friend, you can be sure.
How could you, Your Majesty? He's crafted weapon for at blackclads. The very same what killed our lads.
Freedom will cost us dearly. Dearly indeed.
Your Majesty, the hut's untouched. Ripe grain in the fields, 'tis hard to believe. I feared we'd have another Edirn here, with the blackclads setting fire to all.
I feared nothing of the sort. Nilfgaard's not stupid. Lands it aims to hold, it doesn't destroy. And Willem did bend the knee to the Emperor.
New orders? No?
Catch him! He's worth 20 florins! Move! Used to be, I hunted game. Men bring more coin. Catch!
En la truit!
Must be an important lesson in this. But what?
I smell a leak.
The Emperor, and you might be freed! You mad? Don't say that! This could hurt!
Wise choice.
We'll catch 'em all! Zericania, source of the best goods.
Something from nothing, it's exactly what I do.
As you wish, milady.